According to God, the white man is the devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white man. Need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that bygone beat. Boy, ask you to stop and ask you to practice. My nigga serious. Boy, when they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, what the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. You cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say. City blazing with my niggas, just told the devil the score never settle. See the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. Like we all come together. They say God so loved the world. God so loved the world, and all your ass need to stop and ask you. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you. Oh, I'm gonna step up silent for show to the fake niggas. Stay silent, I got it, let's go. I ain't taking no loss, ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with you. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell them we can't get it slate. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got your baby mother on high, your baby pass through the fire. Ask you the prophets, that baby soul belong to the Lord. I dare you abort it. Therefore will fail you, bitch, I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. But your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop and ask you the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. All jokes aside, you know how niggas be like, I'm this and that for life. This and that for life. I'm always for life, nigga. This a blow. Hey, yo, Montreal. Here go a class for you, my nigga. 140 for the rebel. The world turned its back on me. I'm a crippling. We got soldiers, he got soldiers, but I got different ones. Ain't no way out, I tell you once. Don't pray for nothing, nothing in the curse. We can't forgive us for this. Remain in the trenches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did. It bring us gifts. Have your respect to your oppressor. Be about your business. This Lord teaching death sinners look. Trying to pick up with a blind friend. They said there'll be many matches. I'm just grinding for my time share. The devils ain't playing fair. They hunt you like bad pill. But ain't no getting out the game like you munching. You take that office a Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in one piece. So you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times and it's death to his partner. So how you feel about this truth I done shown? This ain't it like you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people go disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name. So you better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like George Jennings. Murder for capital 9, murder at the Capitol. The world in amazement, we like fuck 'em, raise it. I pity those watching life as it go by. Be giving mercy in his life, I don't know why. It pump smoke, never try to. The daddy on my brother be the daddy, so I don't need the photo. Salute, my nigga. Salute, my nigga. They like, how you stay focused? I told him I'm motivated because of you, my nigga. Brotherhoods and weapons, still got weapons on the scene. And I never do my niggas like Bishop get Raheem. Never mind your non-beliefs, they under anesthesia. Shorty said she even said she wanna let that love go. So I let that love grow. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a blood oath. So, how you feel about this truth out of show? This ain't the life you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people gon' disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemal, all the Thumb Shemi Al-Shai, all the sisters. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Just started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. All right. I'm Officer 50 Shar Yawan, teaching this Tuesday's night brotherhood class. All right. Quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Adawan, Shalom, Officer Adiyar. Yahba Shema Shabrakatha, what's going on, Adawan? The water for tuning in. Shalom to Marcela Mendoza Rivera. Yahba Shema Shabrakatha, the water for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Like, share, subscribe, hit the sign-in links. All right, we got the sign-in links in the chat. Abe Williams, checking in out of Houston. Shalom, Trooper. Yabashim Shabrakatha, the water for tuning in. Trooper, a warrior. Powerful name, brother. All right, the water for tuning in. Make sure you hear that like, share, subscribe buttons. Share us on your YouTube, on your Facebook pages. Share our YouTube page. Shalom to Napash Kaya. Yabashim Shabrakatha, the water for tuning in. All right. Again, this is Tuesday's night brotherhood class. All right, every Tuesday night, men of the Lord, the priests and prophets of the Most High are teaching brotherhood to our people being blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, again, we are the I.S.U.P.K. We are not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite organization or any other Christian group. All right. Since 1969, under Commanding General YAHANNA, we are the only place on earth authorized to teach the Bible. The only place on earth. The only place on earth that teach the truth of the Bible. All right. And every Tuesday night, we're teaching our people what it is we need to do in order to build as a nation. All right. One of the most important things that we need to understand as a people is who we are and to know that we are family. You understand? That is the best way to understand brotherhood. Brotherhood being synonymous with sisterhood. We got to understand that we are one big family. You understand? We are one family, and we got to learn to stop abandoning one another. We got to learn to be long-suffering for one another. We got to learn what it is to truly sacrifice for one another. Sacrifice everything, give it all in order to love one another as a people. All right. So tonight we got a couple articles. I'm not going to get too deep into all of them. Again, make sure you hit the sign-in link. The sign-in links are posted in the chat. Before the class ends, we'll get the sign-out links. But again, so tonight we got a couple articles we're going to share. There's been a couple things going on in Montreal, the city of Montreal, up here in Canada. All right. There's been a couple gun violence. There's some gun violence going on, some stabbings, some things going on amongst our people. And in the I.S.U.P.K, we are giving the solution to our people for us to stop. All right. Before we get in that article, matter of fact, let's jump to the book of Ezekiel. That's Ezekiel chapter 11. Salaki, give me one sec. Ezekiel 11 and verse 16. All right. In the book of Ezekiel 11 and verse 16, it says, "Therefore say, thus saith the Lord God, although I have cast them far off among the heathen." Understand, who is them? This is speaking about the children of Israel. This is speaking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the true children of God. You understand? These are people that have been cast far off amongst the heathen. This is why blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they do not have a homeland. A lot of us don't know where our homeland is. We don't speak our own language. We don't speak the language of our ancestors. We speak a bastard tongue. We have been cast off among the heathen. Goes on to read, "And although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come." There's good news if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American, and it's to know that there is a safe haven amongst these heathen. All of us living in ghettos, barrios, and reservations, there is a safe haven amongst our oppressor, amongst the so-called white man, amongst these Asians, amongst all these different Europeans and Africans and East Indians. There is a safe haven for us. And that safe haven is in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. You understand? In this house, in the I.S.U.P.K, this is a place where we love our brothers, where we love our sisters, where there is no black on black crime, where there's no 60% divorce rate amongst our people. You find that in the Christian church. The I.S.U.P.K, you lay down with a woman, that is your woman for life. That is a sister that you protect and guide and lead for life. You suffer for life. This is what we do as a people in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. This is a little sanctuary. You understand? Where we dwell amongst honorable men and women. Where we don't have to worry about bad things happening to our kids. We don't have to worry about getting robbed or stolen from, or somebody else trying to sleep with our wives. We don't have to worry about those things in the Israelite School of UPK. All right. Salaki, give me one moment. Salaki. Right. This is that little sanctuary for our people, the Israelite School of UPK. All right. It's a place where we've ended black on black crime. Right. Which is to the topic of tonight. Right. So many times we've spoke about it in the I.S.U.P.K. How do we end black on black crime? Right. In the I.S.U.P.K, it's already ended. Doesn't exist. Black on black crime, black on brown crime, native on Hispanic, Hispanic on black, black on black, Hispanic on Hispanic. That doesn't exist in the I.S.U.P.K. All right, we don't have those issues in our house. This is that little sanctuary where the Most High dwells. This is the place where the Most High is with. Understand? And he protects us. He is a little shield, a buckler to us. Right? We dwell under the shadow of the Almighty, under his protection. Because in I.S.U.P.K, we do what it is that he commands us to do. We don't make excuses. Right? In the book of Leviticus chapter 19, it says, you are not allowed to hate your brother. That is a commandment. That is an order from the Most High. You cannot hate your brother in your heart. You are not allowed to do it. And in the I.S.U.P.K, we obey those orders under Commanding General YAHANNA. We follow Christ under Commanding General YAHANNA. We don't make excuses to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We don't hate our brothers in our hearts. We don't hold grudges. Understand? We forgive one another. We communicate with one another. We correct one another. Chastise and admonish one another. This is what we do in the I.S.U.P.K. And this is what we're missing as a people. All right, so we're going to get into some of these articles. All right. There's a lot going on in the city of Montreal right now. Let's start off in this article here. All right. From the brother Marcelo, he says, I'm excited always to hear from the brother. Glad to hear wake up the human race of this races, human races. Right. Our people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are absolutely waking up to who they are. Right. It says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3 that that Christ won't return until there be a falling away, until that man of sin be revealed. Right. Till blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans would wake up and understand who they are and have an opportunity to repent, have an opportunity to hear the gospel, the good news, what it is Christ taught, and to have an opportunity to turn from their sin. All right, our people are absolutely waking up. You understand? Our people are absolutely waking up and learning to fear the Most High, to step out of Christianity and Islam, and to learn what it is to truly fear the Most High and do what it is he says. All right. So we're going to start off in this first article. Salakia, give me 1 minute, Israel. Salakia for this. Give me 1 second. All right, Salakia. So we got this first article. All right, and this it says Quebec to announce funding for crime prevention as Montreal police probe shooting. All right, Quebec to announce funding for crime prevention as Montreal police probe shooting. All right, what is this about? As Montreal police investigate the latest killing of a youth in the city. The provincial government said Friday it would announce funds for crime prevention programs this weekend. Public Security Minister Genevieve offered her condolences to the family and friends of a 20-year-old man who was shot Thursday evening. Quebec has announced millions in recent months for police efforts to combat gun violence and gun trafficking. Gilbolt said that on Sunday, the government would announce funding to help community groups that work with the young people. All right. So what's been going on in Montreal is that there's been a lot of gun violence going on. Understand? There's always been gun violence in the city of Montreal. And the city of Montreal is currently looking for ways to try to lower some of this gun violence. All right. And this article has sprung up because of some of the shootings that's been going on recently in the city. All right. There's been some brothers that were shot. We're going to get into something where a 16-year-old teenager was stabbed. He was stabbed to death, lost his life. You understand? But needless to say, that there are some real issues amongst our people. Not only in the city of Montreal, but amongst our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You hear about how insanely high of the homicide rate there is in Chicago, in Houston, right, in Indianapolis, in Detroit, in the city of Toronto, the city of Montreal, places like that. There is too much gun violence. There's too much homicides, too much killings, too much violence amongst our people. And Commanding General YAHANNA, he did a beautiful story on this. And it's that demon of stereotypes amongst our people. Like, a lot of us grow up believing that Black men, Hispanic men, and Native American men are just inherently violent and dangerous. We're just inherently murderers and drug dealers. This is something that a lot of us believe growing up. And then you read about stories like this, where the city of Montreal is trying to find ways to help the youth kind of steer away from gang violence and gun violence, trying to find solutions within the communities. You understand? Like the city of Montreal here is talking about how they want to help fund different youth communities to have different crime prevention programs, because they truly believe that these things are going to stop gun violence. They're going to stop black on black crime. And us as a people having all these stereotypes on ourselves about how it is we're going to be when we grow up. And we're just naturally going to be gangbangers and stick-up kids and all this other nonsense. We actually believe this stuff. And then when we hear stories and read about stories going on in our neighborhoods and communities, it's almost as if this is just a reaffirmation that this is exactly who it is that we are as a people. We're just born this way, that these curses are just going to continually plague our community, that there's no solutions to these generational curses. We truly believe that as a people. Now, there's been some brothers in the city of Montreal who have very sadly lost their lives, right? Not just in Montreal, but all over North and South Central America, all over the world, different brothers and sisters. And when I say brothers and sisters, I'm only speaking about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And a lot of us are losing our lives to this different gang violence, to what we know today as black on black crime. And it's a very sad thing to see. I know that's one of the hardest things for me myself to see. It's one of the hardest things for me to read. Like when I read some of these stories, these different news articles of things that go on in the world, anytime I see another black man take another black man's life, time I hear about another marriage amongst Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that has gone wrong, brothers and sisters fighting, aunts, uncles fighting. When you see that amongst your family and in the news, like, that is a very hard thing to read about, because nobody likes to see brothers and sisters fight. Nobody likes to see family fight. And we inherently know that as a people. And when you look at some of these other nations, what did America do when those East Indians crashed a plane into the Twin Towers? They declared war. They said this is an act of war. This is an act of terrorism. They understand when another nation attacks them or kills them or harms them, that this is an act of war. That is what an act of war is. And you know what? Matter of fact, before I keep going on this article, because there's something I wanted to bring out. See if I can find the video real quick. Salakia. So I got one video here. Let me share my screen on this. Where is it? This one here. Salakia said, just a heads up, I.S.U.P.K, we do not own the rights to this video. All right. This video has been surfacing all over the news. This is actually this is an old video. This is old news. Some people may have not heard of it, but basically what happened in this story here is that there were neighbors fighting over putting snow on their neighbor's yard. All right, I'll let this video finish real quick. Let's let that play.
Go get my phone. No. You okay?
Right now, Salakia. That was a straight execution, and these were neighbors fighting. These were two devils fighting. The man who pulled the trigger was a so-called Jewish man, Ashkenaz, an Amalekite, according to the Bible, Esau. Right, that was Esau fighting against Esau. That is the nature of him. You understand? Those things right there, like this man straight up shot his neighbors over a fight that started with somebody putting snow in their neighbor's driveway. They were shoveling snow, ended up putting some snow in their neighbor's driveway. They had some words back and forth. And this devil came out and ended up executing his neighbors. And then the story went on to after he executed his neighbors, he put a bullet in him, put a bullet in himself, and the police closed the case. Now, why is it that there's this saying of black on black crime amongst our community? Like, when have you ever heard white on white crime? When have we ever heard the term East Indian on East Indian crime, or Asian on Asian crime, yellow on yellow crime? When have we ever heard those terms? We don't hear those terms. After that news story took place, and that's one of millions. But like white people should be going around with picket signs saying stop white on white crime. Stop European on European crime. But nobody sees them do that. Which is why that demon of that stereotype, the stereotypical demon that we have on ourselves as a people, like we need to really free ourselves from that. Because we as a people believe that is who we are. That is how we conduct ourselves. That is what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans do to each other. And that was never our history. You understand? We never acted like that as a people. We'll go to what verse do I want? Slocky, 1 minute. Well, we jump down to Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Leviticus 19 and 17 says, "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him." These laws were given to the children of Israel over 5,000 years ago. Moses spoke to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and told them, "You are not allowed to hate your brother in your heart." You understand? Slack here. Hey, shalom, everyone.
Hey, shalom, priest. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, so everything's to watch, sir. Just about to get into some of these articles about some stuff going on in Montreal.
It's getting crazy over here. So like I'm trying to get my internet to work, right? Not my internet, but my camera to work. So I won't be using the camera right now. Trying to see if it's gonna work after, if it's gonna load.
So no sweat. No sweat. And if there's anything you want to add, just as you're hearing, please.
No sweat.
Because Montreal is your zone.
Right. Yeah, it's getting crazy over here, man. You understand? It's like almost every day there's a killing, or there's a shooting, or there's a stabbing over here. You understand? Just like yesterday, somebody, you understand, got stabbed into a library. You can't even go read a book in peace, man, in Montreal. You understand?
Wow.
But we've been telling us that in the I.S.U.P.K, the I.S.U.P.K on the community of YAHANNA, you understand, since 1969, we've been saying that those days are coming. You understand? We've been preaching, we've been warning. We are camping in Montreal, we are camping in Toronto, telling people, you understand, those times are coming. You understand? And the only solution that we have for Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian is what we say within the school, within these walls. You understand? Right. But unfortunately, they don't want to listen. They want the limelight, they want the lifestyle, they want the drugs, they want the weed, they want the nice cars, they want all of that, you understand, that the white man gives, but they don't want what the white man keeps away from them, which is the knowledge of their self. Understand? The knowledge of who they are, the knowledge of how to love one another, which is in the Bible, but we see that Christians don't teach the Bible. You understand? There's a news I was looking at today. There's a Christian preacher that performed, you understand, on HBO while he was in drag queen. You understand? He was dressed as a drag queen. That's a Christian preacher. So we can go to the church for a solution. We can go, you understand, to the politician for a solution. They're all crooked anyway. But in the ISUPK, there lies the solution for our people, man. Understand? So like,
Right.
Chris, you could go ahead, Chris.
So Salaki, that's exactly the mindset of every brother and sister in the school, and that's exactly what I'm getting into tonight, which is we really need to understand who we are as a people and separate ourselves from these different heathen, because this isn't our culture, right? Like Leviticus 19:17 says, you are not allowed to hate your brother in thine heart. That is your culture, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. This is how we conducted ourselves as a people. This is what we need to come back to as a people and stop taking on the customs of our oppressor. Going around and just being emotional, letting our emotions rule us and run us, and just doing everything that our body desires, all the lusts of the flesh that we desire. That's what an animal does. That's what beasts do. Beasts in the field go around killing each other over nonsense. You understand? Animals in the wild fight amongst themselves over foolishness. But these laws, statutes, and commandments that were given to us as a people, like this separates us from everybody else. This is our culture. This is our heritage. This is how we're meant to conduct ourselves as royalty, as priests and prophets. We're not allowed to hate our brothers, our sisters, our family members, our nation. There's a certain way that we're supposed to treat each other. And the Most High requires it of us. These killings and stabbings going on in Montreal, that goes against the Most High. That goes against how we're supposed to conduct ourselves as a people. Our parents taught us to be good Muslims, to be good Christians. Our parents taught us to follow the philosophies of this kingdom. And look where it's got us as a people. Right? Leviticus 19:17 says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, and thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Like, these laws, statutes, and commandments teach us how to love each other, how to communicate with each other, how to be patient, how to be slow to anger, not to be overly emotional, but how to communicate and work out our issues, how to correct one another when somebody's doing something they're not supposed to be doing. There's certain ways we're supposed to carry ourselves as a nation. Right? So Salaki, let's get through some of these articles, and then we'll start running through some scripture. Let's pull up this one here. So now there's a brother a young man. I believe he was 16 years old. His name was Dopwell-Bailey. Again, I'm pretty sure he was 16 years old, a young man, a young brother. And in Montreal, I believe the story is that there's three suspects. Three suspects in the murder of Dopwell-Bailey. And so this article here is touching on the second suspect. All right, so we'll get into that a little. It reads, the second suspect charged with second-degree murder in killing of Dopwell-Bailey. Montreal. A second suspect has been charged following the fatal stabbing of 16-year-old Dopwell-Bailey. Montreal police confirmed Friday. Police said in a news release Friday that its major crime section arrested 18-year-old Andre Donnet. He's facing one count of second-degree murder in the teen's October 18th slaying. The 16-year-old was rushed to hospital after the attack around 3 p.m., but was later pronounced dead. All right. Now go ahead and let this video here play.
So like if I made the video.
Come.
And these are young kids, man. These are young little kids. You understand? And y'all gonna see that it's more to it. Like it's more stories like it. You understand? Young kids walking around the street with guns, man. You understand? And you understand? The other day there was a bunch of young kids. You understand that did a gang bang on some. You understand? Some girl, young kids like 16 years old, 15 years old, man. This is what they're learning in this empire, man. You understand? Wow. And there's a lot of players at fault in this because, first of all, most of these kids, the mother is, you understand, they are single. They were raised by single mothers. You understand? Who's most likely, you understand, kicked the men out of the house. You understand? Or the man had another rib. You understand? She kicked him out. You understand? Whatever. You understand? This is their fault. This is the Bible says, you understand, instruct the child while the child is young. Well, you know what? If those children have a good education at home, you understand? If they get whooped, you understand, where they do something bad, just like the Bible says to do, you understand? Right. They wouldn't be doing these type of things. But because we want to be, you understand, just like the oppressor, and there's a law over here in Montreal that says you cannot beat your child. If you whoop your kid, you understand, discipline your kid, and that kid call the cops, you understand, they might take that kid away from you. You understand? So now parents are scared, you understand, of losing their child and just letting their child grow any type of way that their child wants, not giving them the instruction that the child needs. And we're seeing that, you understand, all over, you understand, over here. So like if I'm gonna be long-winded with it, like when I came in Montreal, it was my first time when I seen a child. You understand? I was like shocked. That was like my first week in Montreal. And the teenager was like, you understand, Mom, F you. I'm like, what the hell? You understand? What is this place? You understand? What is this place? I would have lost my jaw, you understand, if I would dare. Yeah. You understand? If I would have dared say something like that. But this is this empire. This is this place, you understand? And with the movie and with the, you understand, with the movie, with the music, you understand, they all want to emulate that and, you understand, represent that in their neighborhood, in their corner, you understand? Where do they get the gun? Nobody knows, you understand? Well, supposedly nobody knows. We know, we've been in the street. We know you could go, you understand, in the flea market and get guns, you understand? But the police now is asking the mafia for help against gun violence, man, in Montreal. You understand? It's like a priest.
Come on, sir. Well, Salaki, and just like what you said is so heavy. and I hope it doesn't go over anybody's watching's head. Like some of these things, they start at the house. You understand? And this wicked devil that's over us, he understands what it is he needs to do to destroy the Black, Hispanic, and Native American household. You understand? Like it says in the book of Matthew that, like, to destroy a man's house, you must first bind the strong man.
Right.
You got to get rid of that Black, Hispanic, and Native American man out the house. Right? You got to have him abandon his family, or treat his wife or his kids in an evil way. Like, you got to bind that strong man. You got to set traps for him. You got to make it hard for him to be the man that he was created to be. Because once you destroy that brother, like that household is destroyed. Those kids are going to grow up acting as emotional as their mom is. Right? Like some of you young brothers, 15, 16 years old, you think it's masculine to pull a trigger? You think it's manly to just go and stab up another man? That is the most feminine, Salakia for my language, bitch-made thing that you can do.
Right.
That's not manly. That's not what real men do. Read about, we got the Feast of Hanukkah just ended. Like, those brothers said, I would rather die than eat pork. Those are real men. The book of Kings says, show yourself a real man and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. A real man is honorable.
Right.
A real man stands up for the law, statutes, and commandments of his God. He obeys his father. He does what is required of him as a Black, Hispanic, and Native American. He's honorable. He's not emotional. He's slow to anger. He doesn't sin because Salaki, what's an example? Because you called him a name that he doesn't like, and now he feels a certain way, so he's gonna stab you?
It's like you step on his shoes,
you step on
the Nikes.
and Salaki, so like that's I know one of the stories I always use is I grew up playing basketball. Salakia. I remember being in I was in Indianapolis one time, and we were just playing ball at a park, and this is such a common story where other brothers start fouling each other, or maybe there's a brother who's not so good at basketball, and maybe he's not so adept to all the rules of basketball, and he's fouling and whatever. And then next, this turned into an argument. Two brothers are arguing on the court over a game. Salakia. Try not to swear, but like just over a game. And I remember this one time, the brother ended up pulling out a pistol. Pulls out a pistol. People on the court run off. You hear gunshots, and it's like, Salaki, this is over. I'm trying hard not to cuss. This is over a basketball game. You know what I mean? And it's like that's not masculine. You're very emotional. You're very feminine.
So like if I may, priest, I remember General Miami was saying in the class, it's easy to pull that trigger. It's easy to hate your brother, but what's not easy to do is to forgive that brother. To forgive that brother that stepped on your Nike. To forgive that brother that foul on you. That's not easy to do. You understand? And just like you're saying, priest, you understand? Because we became so emotional. You understand? We became like women. You understand? Anything make us like, you understand? Tick, kill our brother, hate our brother. You understand? It's like a priest.
Come on, sir. Come on. Shalom, Brak Yallah. Yahweh Hashem Yeshua Barakatha.
Hey, Shalom, warrior. Y'all watching your show with a thumb.
Shalom, Yahweh, Shabbat
So like, let me get back to the video. I don't remember exactly where I left off, but Salaki, like what Officer Adia is bringing out so heavy, what the men of the Lord and the I.S.U.P.K have been bringing out since 1969, like this is a real solution to our people, right? This is the only solution on earth if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American. It's to get in this school and to learn how to love your people. All right, so I'm gonna keep sharing this video. Yeah, Con, I'm gonna let this video play.
A 16-year-old tonight stands charged with the murder of another. Dopwell-Bailey was fatally stabbed on Monday outside his school in Côte-de-Neige. Today, the other 16-year-old appeared in youth court. Now, Steph, the charge is second-degree murder.
That's right, Mitsumi. The 16-year-old was arrested last night. Police gave very few details about the circumstances, and we don't know if other arrests are pending. The tragedy, you may recall, began Monday afternoon near the Plamondon metro station. It began as a fight between two groups of teenagers and ended with the stabbing of Dopwell-Bailey. He managed to make his way back inside the...
Salakia. Brock, can you grab Ephesians 4, I think, verse 23?
Wakan.
Ephesians 4, go to verse Ephesians 4, verse 26, Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 26. Be angry and sin not.
Be what?
Be ye angry and sin not.
Con, there's nothing wrong for a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man to be angry. You understand? Be angry. These different emotions that we have as a people, that there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with feeling sad or feeling happy. There's nothing wrong with feeling angry. But in your emotions, don't act off of your emotions. They're just emotions. You could feel happy for 5 minutes because you were watching something funny, and 20 minutes later, you're going to be sad. 20 minutes later, somebody's going to step on your shoe and you're going to be angry. 20 minutes later, you might see a good-looking sister walk by and your mind's going to go somewhere else. These are just emotions. You understand? Read that one more time.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. Be ye angry and sin not.
But don't sin. Don't be a coward. Don't let your emotions rule over you. That's what women do. That's what little kids do. Little kids don't get their way, they're gonna start throwing books across the room. They're gonna start stomping on the ground. They're gonna start screaming and crying bloody murder at the top of their lungs. Which is why what Officer Adia said earlier was so heavy. Right? Quick kind of side story, Salakia. I know a brother who his son ran out in the middle of the road. And he grabbed his son, and he beat his son in the middle of the road. The grandmother of that child called the police because he beat his son.
That man ended up doing, I think it was 2 years of jail. Got a court order that he wasn't allowed to see his wife, that he couldn't go near his kids because he was trying to correct his child. Kids do foolish things. That's why the scriptures say they are foolish. You need to correct them. You need to beat them. You need to teach them. Especially when they're doing things that can really harm themselves. You got to correct your children. You understand? These kids, they'll throw any kind of tantrum because they feel one way. They see a butterfly flying out near the road or something, or a ball on the road. They get happy and overexcited. They just do stupid things. That is what kids do. And some of you women, you are way too emotional, just following every bit of emotion that you have. You understand? You feel one way this second, so you're gonna yell at your husband, or you're gonna go shopping and spend all the money, or whatever emotion you're feeling that day, you're gonna go and let it rule your life. We can't let our emotions rule us. That's not how we're supposed to operate as a people. Right? Be angry, but don't sin because of it. These are what, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids? That problem that you have with that brother, it's really not that deep. That emotion that you're feeling with that brother, there's so many other solutions than to take his life. And we really got to learn how to communicate with each other as a people. We got to learn not to let our emotions rule us, not to govern us, and just for the first time in our lives, to do what it is the Most High commands us to do. He gave us the blueprint on how to love each other, on how to treat each other. Be angry, but don't sin because of it. Right? It's lucky. I'm gonna keep going with this video.
The school bus was declared dead that evening in hospital. Police originally said they were looking for 3 suspects. The one arrested last night appeared at youth court early this afternoon. He was trying to make eye contact with his mother, who was present. He was charged with second-degree murder, and the prosecution objected to his release, and he will come back to court on Tuesday to set a date for a full bail hearing. The prosecutor said she intends to seek an adult sentence should he be found guilty in youth court.
At the youth court, it's a youth sentence. However, we may deposit a notice like that before the appearance.
Stefan, you spoke to the victim's mother following the arrest.
Yes, I spoke to her earlier this morning, and she remains very distraught over the tragedy, and she's attending, as you know, a vigil with friends and family for the boy. She says she's relieved, but at the same time, she hopes the other suspects get arrested too. And most importantly, she wants to know why her son had to die in such circumstances.
I gladly have someone, but I feel the same. I hope they catch all of them because I understand it's 3 of them. And relief? No, I don't feel relief. I feel still numb. I'm not feeling right.
So,
Salakia. And if I may, Brock Yalla, can you grab Matthew? Grab the book of Matthew 22, verse 39.
Kalana Wakan.
So like a priest, while the trooper get the scripture right. Now this is a sister, right? This is a sister. You can clearly see it. That's a Benjamite sister. You understand from her voice, from her accent. You understand? And this is what we don't realize, man. We hurt one another, man. That sister is our sister, man. It's your sister. If we have that sense of family, if we have that sense of sisterhood and brotherhood of love, loving one another. Now, we so quick to say, you understand, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. What about that mother's pain?
Right.
What about that sister pain? Do you care about that? But you will be the first one. Even those young kids were in the Black Lives Matter march. But they don't know what Black Lives Matter means. They don't know exactly that Black, Native Indian, and Hispanics' life matters. You understand? And it's valuable, man. You understand why? Because you have your foolish preacher, and you understand your greedy preacher, you understand, saying, well, welcome, come as you are, be like you want to be. You understand? Because you understand, brothers that are lost in the street, that are killing already, talking about guns, murder, and violence. You understand? These are the reason why these things are happening. Now, Salakia, please let me add this. The other day, there was I know Barakela probably seen it. You understand? There was a mother that lost a child, right? They made a video singing and bragging, holding the knife up. And, you understand? Holding the knife up and be like, "This is why I stabbed him." You understand? He was yelling, "Oh!" You understand? Not even, and while the mother is watching that video, man. Now we don't understand what we do to one another. We don't understand the type of pain we afflicting one another with. But we're so quick to say Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives really matter, why don't you love your own people? Why don't you love your brothers and sisters? Why would you shoot your brother? Why would you stab your brother if Black lives really matter? You understand? But you become just like the Bible say. You understand? The devil, you understand? You worship the devil. The devil is your father. Right. And this is why you're able to kill your own brother. This is why you don't feel that sister pain. This is why you don't want to change your life and come into I.S.U.P.K. and become something positive, an example for the other ones out there. Because you understand, the white man is your father. So like a priest.
Come, sir. Salakia, sir, like, I remember when I asked the man above me, I asked the man above me, Salakia, sir, how do I have more compassion for my people? And that brother said, love your neighbor as yourself.
Damn right. And
when he sent me that, I remember thinking, like, I've heard this verse 1,000 times, but I've never once connected it to having compassion.
Right.
And when I was just watching that video, Salaki, I had to pause it there because just as the officer said, like, I right off the bat, she's clearly a sister from the Caribbean somewhere. You know what I mean? Like that is a sister. That is my sister. That is my family. Another Israelite. And it's like you can tell she had it hasn't even really hit her yet that she's lost her child. You know what I mean? Like the pain and the realization of what's actually taking place, it hasn't hit that sister yet. You know what I mean? And I remember a time for myself, and this is why this verse we're about to read is so heavy. I remember there was a time when I had gone to a funeral, and it was near the middle of the funeral. I realized, oh, I can't pick up the phone and call this person anymore. And I had known the person was dead for about for over a week. But when I was at the funeral and I realized I couldn't pick up the phone and call the person, that was the first time it hit me like, oh, this person's really gone. And to see what that sister was going through, could you imagine a world where you as a brother or sister, before you pull that trigger, say, what is that person's mom gonna go through if I take their daughter? What is this person's father gonna go through if I kill his son? If I go and kill somebody else's cousin, I kill somebody else's sister, how would my sister feel? How would my father feel? How would I feel if somebody took the life of somebody close to me? Imagine if we had that compassion as a people and said, you know what? That pain that I would go through, I don't want you to go through.
Right.
Right? Like that world, and Salak, General Hyman, I remember he did a heavy class one time, but one of the things that he had said is that he was teaching about how to suffer for one another, and he was letting our people know that Commanding General YAHANNA is building that world. He is building a world where brothers and sisters actually have compassion for one another. Right? Where we're taking that stony heart and we're softening it as a people. All that stony heart, all that coldness and bitterness that we have towards each other as a people, that one day we're gonna actually get up and look at our brothers and sisters as ourselves. Look at our brothers and sisters as somebody who's a part of our family. Somebody who's another. Commanding General YAHANNA said it best. Was that he said, even because I don't know you, Slag, Officer Adder, you could probably correct me on this. I'm trying to quote it right. But even that I don't know you, I'm going to love you because you're another black man like me.
Right. That was in the camp.
I'm loosely paraphrasing. I'm trying to remember exactly how we said it, but it's like, God. But it's like to actually look at another Black, Hispanic, and Native American man as ourselves and treat each other accordingly. Like that. Imagine that world.
Right. So, like, if I may,
concert.
You understand? Just like one of the ways I break down, like, you understand, love that brother as that self. It's like, it's easy. Just look at when you look at the mirror, you don't see yourself. You see Officer SHALAM. You see Trooper Barakiala. You see another Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. When you look at them in the mirror, you don't see yourself. But look at somebody else's pain. Look at your brother's pain. You understand? So when you look at the mirror, you understand, you should see somebody else, not just you. Well, he's my reflection. He's me. I am him. How can I do something bad to him when he is me? You understand? So that's one way to look at it as well. It's like a piece.
Absolutely. And you can read in the book of 1 Samuel, I think it's chapter 18. You can read about Jonathan and David. Like those brothers showed like a real example of how it is we're supposed to treat each other as a people. Like just imagine thinking, right? Like just as Officer Adiar said, imagine thinking like going to the kitchen and being like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. You know what? That means my brother's hungry. That means my brother's thirsty. Oh, I want a wife? You know what? My brothers must want a wife. I want a better paying job. You know what? That means my brothers want a better paying job. Let me make sure that they have this. Let me make sure I take care of my brothers and sisters the way I take care of myself. That's how we got to move as a people. To look at one another and not be jealous or covetous of what each other have, but to build each other up. To say, I have this, let me make sure my brother has this. I got a nice house and nice clothes and I got 4 or 5 wives. Let me make sure my brother has a nice car, a nice job, a nice house. Let me make sure he has 4 or 5 wives. I got 10 kids. How do I help my brother get 10 kids? Let me make sure that my brothers and sisters are taken care of the same way I'm taken care of. That's the spirit that we got to move in as a people.
Wakan.
Yeah. Slaki Brakali, you got a verse you're holding for me?
Wakan is the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 39. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Come. This is a commandment from Christ. This is a commandment, an order from the Most High. Right? It says in the book of Ezekiel that he speaks through the mouth of his prophets. Right? Or Slack in Jeremiah. Right? The Most High sends his prophets and they speak to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They let us know how it is we are to act as a people. So when Christ is speaking, Christ is giving an order from the Most High. Right? Like it says in 1 Corinthians that the head of Christ is the Most High. The head of Christ is God. And Christ does the will of his Father. He obeys the Most High. And he told blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are to love your neighbor as yourself. That is an order. It's an order to be compassionate for one another. Imagine that world. In that world, this 16-year-old brother would have never lost his life.
Right.
This mother wouldn't be going through the mourning that she has to go through.
Right.
This wouldn't be in the news. This wouldn't be a conversation. And I can guarantee you that they got white Jesus. They got a quote from white Jesus somewhere in their wall in their house.
Right.
You can guarantee that they're Christian, Muslim, follow the philosophies of the white man. You can guarantee that's what went on in that house.
So like a priest, just one thing if I could add.
Come, sir.
And we think we're doing with some that's, you understand, that's gangster. That's not gangster. You understand? Right. You actually uplifting white supremacy. You actually making them benefit because the police gonna go out there, they get paid. Investigator gonna go out there, they get paid. The forensic, you understand, gonna get out there, they get paid. The lawyer's gonna, you understand, be on trial and everything, they get paid. The judge gonna be out there, they get paid. The news and so on, they all get paid. Why? You know what? You decrease, you bring loss, you bring pain in our community. You understand?
Yeah.
So you really benefiting white supremacy. You really benefiting those same oppressor while you're gonna be screaming Black Lives Matter. You understand? You helping this kingdom while you killing your own brother. You understand? Let me see it. Let me show you how to destroy this kingdom. Love one another, just like Officer Sharon once said. You understand? Just like Officer Sharon once said, love your neighbors like as thyself. You understand? That's how you kill this white supremacy. This is how you stop this kingdom by stop with the sin, starting loving one another. Now you stop with all of that. You understand? You stop them from getting paid. The police won't need to be in our neighborhood roaming. You understand? 24/7 in Montreal North if we don't sell drugs.
Right.
You understand? They will be, you understand, in their zone. They don't go in the white territory, the Jewish men that's selling drugs, kidnapping kids, and you understand, raping babies and everything. They don't go in this section. But they come to ours while we're selling, you understand, damn bags of weed. You understand? They come to ours. Let's stop selling drugs then. They won't come over here no more. Let's stop selling guns. Let's stop being, you understand, the gangsters in this so-called gangsters. Let's stop them. Then they won't come over here. They won't have no job no more. Then you have Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian men in the I.S.U.P.K taking over for security in the neighborhood.
Right.
So like a priest.
Con, sir. Salakia, and who was that? I think that was General Muhammad that said, the reason we live in the ghetto is because of the way we act. Right? Like we're in the condition we're in because of the way we act as a people. And if we would throw away all that foolishness, all the things that Officer 1000 Adiyar was bringing out, police wouldn't be in our neighborhoods. There wouldn't be black on black crime. Brothers wouldn't be walking around all overly emotional, doing whatever nonsense that goes on in our community. Divorce wouldn't be happening in our community. Abortions wouldn't be happening in our community. Nobody would be getting robbed in our communities. All these different things wouldn't be going on if we would obey the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Learn how to love each other as a people. That's what this whole Bible is about. How to treat each other as a family. Right? So Salaka, I had a lot more articles to bring out, but I want to try to get through some scripture too. Salaki. Let's jump. I'm gonna try to get through some scripture before we end the class. Brock Allah, can you grab start? Can you grab the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54, Baba Kasha?
Khan.
Let's try to run through some scriptures real quick.
Here's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
God, when you read the book of Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1, it lets you know that the Most High would be with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans if we listen to him. He would bless us. He would shield us, protect us, fight for us. You understand? He would put us in our own land. He would set us on high if we would obey him. You jump down to verse 15 and lets you know, but if we don't obey him, then curses would follow us. Right? Read that again from the top.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
God. What this is speaking about is a Black, Hispanic, and Native American man who doesn't love his people. When it says tender and delicate, it's speaking about a brother who steals from another brother, who sleeps with another brother's wife, who takes the life of another brother. He's tender, he's delicate. He doesn't love his people. Right? Keep reading.
His eye shall be evil toward his brother.
Right. And this is what you're seeing going on in Montreal. This is what you see going on in all of North and South Central America. Anywhere you go and find our people, right? These are some curses that are following us as a people. Because we didn't obey the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Right? Keep reading.
And toward the wife of his
Read. Finish out
of
the
his
verse.
children which he shall be.
Come on. This is a curse from the Most High. Right? You read about in the book of Romans where the Most High said, like, those brothers who started laying down with other brothers, they became gay or homosexual. The Most High said he gave them over to their lusts. He gave them over to their desires, to the things that they wanted to do. Right? I think you can read about that also in the book of Corinthians. Right? Where there was a brother who slept with his father's wife. And Paul he wrote a letter to that church, I think it was the church of Corinth. He said to deliver their soul over to Satan. Give them over to their desires. You want to go around being a drug dealer, a thief, murdering your people, throwing away your women, whatever it is your lusts are, your desires are. You don't want to obey the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Well, there's a way that the Most High is going to correct that. And he's just going to leave you alone. He's going to give you over to the desires of your hearts. You want to go die and you want to go live in your sin? Right? Like how they tell us growing up, you're going to have to learn the hard way. Right? Any Black, Hispanic, or Native American parent, you got kids, you don't want them to learn the hard way. But some of them, you just understand that they're not going to listen. They're hard-headed. They're stubborn. And if you're not going to listen, you're going to learn the hard way. When I tell you don't put your hand on the stove, you don't want to listen, you might get third-degree burn. You might lose your hand. You might have to be amputated or something. Right? You're going to learn the hard way. Because that will correct you. If you're not going to listen to my corrections, go learn the hard way. Right? And that's what's going on to us as a people. Us Hispanics and Native Americans, we are learning things the hard way.
So like a priest, if I may.
Council.
All right, true. In the chat, Trooper, our Raya said, "I've been there before. When I was younger, I put a gun on someone, and their two kids was there, but didn't do because of the kids. Understand?
Hey, so, no sign, Chris.
Understand? Give him a hand. You understand? And you know what? That's compassion right there. You understand? At least you had sense because of the two kids that was there. You know what? I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm not gonna traumatize those two kids.
Damn right.
You understand? You put yourself in the start putting ourselves in the place of somebody that we're gonna hurt. You understand? Well, if that was me, I was about to hurt like this. How would I feel? Why would traumatize like this? You understand? So you understand, and thank God, you understand, you become a soldier, and God see in your heart. Now you in the ISUPK. Now you a
Most
trooper
time
in the
prayer.
ISUPK. You understand? I'm saying keep going, don't let go, keep going, persevere to the end. All right, trooper. It's like a priest.
Khan says, Salak, that's heavy, sir. Khan, that's heavy. I understand, and that's the spirit that all our people gotta have. You understand? To be able to make a decision and say, man, like, how would this brother and sister feel? How would I feel? You understand? If somebody did this to me. And that's the solution to black on black crime right there. That is a solution to all our people. Right? Christ said that the law hinges on these two things: to put the Most High first before everything, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Right? That's the spirit behind everything. Right? That's such a heavy thing you did, brother Salak. I commend you for that. I really do. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Salakia. Salakia, Braki Allah, are you holding a verse for me?
A lot one.
Let's grab let's grab the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 18, I think it's 18 and verse 10.
Khan of Khan.
Come on, Ezekiel chapter 18 and verse 10.
There's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18, verse 10. And he beget the son that is a robber, a shedder of blood.
Come on. Your brother, you have a son, he's a thief, right? Stick up kid or a shedder of blood, right? Keep reading.
And that doth that doeth the like to any one of these things.
Right. Keep reading.
Verse 11. And that doeth not any of those duties.
Come on. And what is the duty of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans?
To love one another, other one.
Absolutely. Right? To love one another. To keep the law, statutes, and commandments. To have compassion on one another. You're black, Hispanic, and Native American. It is your duty not to hate your brother in your heart. Not to bear a grudge against your people. To be angry and sin not. That is a duty of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. To love one another. You understand? Keep reading.
But even had eaten upon the mountains and defiled his neighbor's wife.
Come, but if you're a brother who, you're a thief, you're a murderer, you're going to go around murdering people. You're going to go around sleeping with other brothers' wives, defiling their wives. Right? Keep reading.
Had to press, verse 12. Had to press the poor and the needy.
Come on, keep reading.
Had spoiled by violence.
Keep reading.
Had not restored the pledge.
Come on.
You're a brother, you just go around doing all sorts of filthiness. And by filthiness, you follow all the ways of your oppressor. You know who the biggest drug dealer on the earth is? The so-called white man. You know who the biggest murderer on earth is? That is a so-called white man.
Right.
Khan
You know
Khan.
who you're a brother, you defile another man's wife? You sleep with another man's wife? You know how many things a man has done to his wife? And you're gonna
Right.
lay down with another man's wife? You are a homosexual. You are
Right.
gay.
Right.
You know who the biggest homosexual on earth is? The so-called white man.
Am right.
You're gonna be a man who follows all the ways of your oppressor. Keep reading.
And had lift up his
Khan. You've lifted up your eyes to the idols, right? You serve the white Jesus, right? You serve Allah and Muhammad. Didn't Muhammad have sex with a 9-year-old girl? What was her name? Aisha or something like that?
Come.
These are the idols and religions you're gonna follow. Keep reading.
birthing, had given forth upon usury, and had taken increase.
Gone. It's against. You're not allowed to charge interest to your brothers and sisters in our laws. You understand? There's certain ways you got to deal with brothers and sisters in our laws. Like your oppressor, his ways, we got to understand. Salak, how does Commanding General YAHANNA say that? Like the ways of this so-called white man, they are bad for us. They are wrong for us. And if we continue to follow this oppressor, we will continue to be destroyed as a people. There's certain ways that we're supposed to treat each other as brothers and sisters. And all of this that we're just reading about right now, these are disgusting things. These are abominable things in the eyes of the Most High. Keep reading.
Shall he then live? He shall not live.
How shall he live? That's a rhetorical. Shall you live? You want to live like this? What do you think's gonna happen to you if you sleep with another black Hispanic man's wife? You think he's just gonna roll over and say, "Oh, I forgive you, no sweat." Yeah, you just take my wife, no sweat. You think that's what that brother's gonna do? You know how many brothers are locked up because of another man sleeping with their wife? You lay down with another brother's wife, you can expect you better every corner, every alley you walk through at night, you better be watching your back because somebody is coming for your life. You understand? Believe that. You go, what do they call that in the world? Home wrecking? Right? You think you're gonna live if you live like this? You know how many people have lost their lives over money? We're all in the ghettos, barrios, and reservations. And you're gonna take money from me? You're gonna screw me over for some money? You're gonna take something from me? You can expect to lose your life. You understand? You're not gonna live.
So like I preach, we have a question in the chat.
Come sir.
And
Salakia, shalom, quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Jules Charmed, Yal Shemal Atham Bashim Yashai. Shalom, Gigi Rocks, I believe you're a sister. Yahweh Shema Lathan Bashim El Shai, sis. That means may the Most High watch over you in the name of who the world calls Christ. The water for tuning in. You got a question that says, how can we as a people begin the process of healing? How we relate to each other as a people. I got a scripture that comes to mind. I'm not sure if I'm answering it directly, but Baraka Allah, can you grab I think it's Matthew chapter 5. Matthew 5 and 38. How can we as a people begin healing? How we relate to each other as a people. So I'll say for one thing, sis, right? Like Christ said, to love your neighbor as yourself. That is very
Right.
That is everything to us as a people, right? And that's learning to have compassion for one another, right? To be able to look at another Black, Hispanic, and Native American man like yourself and say, you know what I mean? I was just an 8-year-old girl when my uncle molested me for the first time. That was the first time that I experienced some type of evil in this world, some type of trauma in this world. And to look at another sister, another daughter of Zion and say, I don't ever want you to go through what I went through, sis. Right? To think of some of the things you've been through as an individual and to look at other Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and say, I don't want you to go through what I've been through. Right? So Salaki Braka Allah, if you could, I think it's Matthew 5 around verse 38. Khan, yeah, let's start at Matthew 5 and verse 38. And
Book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 38.
To be honest, sis, I'm not. How can we? I'm not 100%. I fully understand your question. So if this doesn't answer it, just let me know. But hopefully this answers your question, sis. And of course, Salaki Officer Adiyar, if you have any input, please.
Come this way.
So go ahead, Baraki Allah.
Matthew chapter 5 verse 38. We have heard that it had been said.
God. He said, but you have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Baraki Allah, where was it said, eye for eye, tooth for tooth?
Salaki, what was that?
Where was it said in the Bible, eye for eye, tooth for tooth?
I believe in Exodus 24 out of 1.
Come. It was said in the book of Exodus. It was said to the children of Israel. Right? This is what we're speaking about. It was said eye for eye, tooth for tooth to the children of Israel, meaning somebody does something to you, it should be done back to them. Right? Somebody punches you in your face, it's right that you punch them back in their face. Right? Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Right? Justice. What's fair, right? Keep reading.
That you resist evil.
But that you what?
That you resist not evil.
Finish out the verse.
Other also.
Cons, Slag, I'm not sure if it's just me I think you're breaking up a bit, but verse 39 says, "But I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also." And Salaki says, I hope this is the direct answer to your question. But
Salaki, please.
Come on, sir.
Salaki, like, you understand? How can we heal as you understand? How can we begin a process of healing? Let's jump to Second Chronicle chapter 7, verse 14. You understand? Now we need to understand what kind of healing that we need. Do we need healing from a wound? Do we need healing from the pain that we're suffering? Do we need healing, you understand, from the fact that we don't know who we are? You understand? There's this different type of healing, but the Most High bring the healing that we need, right? Go ahead when you have it. And what you say, priest, was exactly that precept was exactly to Wab as well. You understand? But this one I'm using right now is one of the precepts I always used with the Levite. You understand? Like when they ask, "What's the next step?" Now we know what's the next step. You understand? Always go to Second Chronicle chapter 7, verse 14.
Come on, sir.
Go. You got it, Trooper Barakela?
Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
If my people, which are called by my name.
Now that's healing. That God saying, if my people, who's his people? Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian, the 12 lost tribe of Israel, right? Which are called by my name. We are called by the name of the Most High, Yasharala, Prince of Power. You understand? Go ahead.
Shall obey.
Salak, you cutting up? Go ahead. Repeat that again.
If my people are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray.
Shall humble yourself. Humble yourself, which means what? You understand? Be reborn. Some people are like, you know what? Well, I know too much of the Bible. I already knew this in the Christian church. I'm not gonna follow this. This is, you understand, for me, but this is not for me. I don't want to accept this. I accept everything that the Most High say. Humble yourself. Be humble. Be ye humble. You understand? Some people don't want to get taught. You understand, in Montreal, but be somebody that want to be taught. You understand? Go and pray. You understand? Prayer is necessary, but there's also in the Bible, he that prays without, you understand, but when he's not hearing the law of the Most High, his prayer shall be an abomination. Keep on going.
All right.
And seek my face and turn from their wicked ways.
Salak, what is it to seek the face of the Most High? What does that mean?
And obey the law, statutes, and commandments.
You close. Obeying is an action, right? Seeking is an action as well. When you seek something, you're searching for something, right? How do you search for the face of the Most High? By going where they speak about the Most High. You understand? Christian. Go to church. When in actuality, they're seeking the white man. You understand? The love of the white man. But when you come in these classes, when you come to Officer Shawan classes, Officer Zabadja classes, you understand my classes, Officer Aban classes, you understand? The general classes, you understand? You are seeking the face of the Most High. You are trying to learn, you understand? How can I find the Most High? How can I seek the Most High? By coming to classes, by asking questions in the class. You understand? You are seeking the most. Go ahead, Trooper Barakela.
And turn from their wicked way.
and turn from their wicked ways, which mean what? Which mean follow the Bible. You understand? Follow the law. Everything that's against the law is wicked. You understand?
Right.
Now that's the healing that we need. That's the healing. You understand? Knowing that you're Israelite is not enough. You gotta turn. You gotta search the Most High. You gotta turn from your wicked ways in the Bible. Listen to this priest and prophet in the I.S.U.P.K. that will direct you to God. You understand? And you will see your life will change. Your life will be amazed. You will be proud of yourself. You will find the healing that you need. You understand? Go ahead.
Then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their
Then
land.
I will do what? Then
Then
I
I
will
will
do
hear
what?
from heaven
You understand? Then I will hear from heaven. You understand? I will hear from heaven and do what?
and will forgive their sin.
And forgive their sin. Now, the healing that we need is the forgiveness of our sin. Everything that we did wrong back in the days, we want forgiveness for it. Being a Christian, you understand, singing and dancing in the choir and with the preacher, we need forgiveness for those things. You understand, and so on and so on. You understand, like selling weed. You understand, some were being a whore, having sex with different, you understand, races and everything. We need forgiveness for these things. That's the type of healing that we need. You understand?
Right.
And God will heal our land. God will make where we live something beautiful, something amazing, something, you understand, Dubai has nothing to do with it. You understand? All right, so Salaka, please.
Come on, sir, Slack. And if I could keep piggybacking off what you're saying,
Come, go
Rocket
ahead.
Allah, can you grab Ecclesiasticus 13 and verse 15?
Kana Wakan. There's a book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13, verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
Slack, let me catch up with you. Read that again from the top.
Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
Khan, every beast loveth his like. Right? What is that talking about? Like, you see all the beasts in the field. You see dolphins. Dolphins swim with other dolphins. You see the seagulls. Seagulls are flying with other seagulls. You see the pigeons, right? They're flying and walking around with other pigeons, right? And they love each other, right? They don't separate from one another. They work together, right? They work together so that they can survive. That's what they do as animals, right? Keep reading.
And every man loveth his neighbor. Verse 16. All flesh consorted according to kind.
Salakia. Khan, and every man loveth his neighbor. Keep reading. Read verse 16, Baba Kasha.
Verse 16. All flesh consorted according to kind.
Khan. And all flesh consorteth according to kind, right? You see the Asians work together so that their nation can build. You see the East Indians work together so they can build. You see the Europeans work together to build each other as a people, right? All the animals, all the people on it, they all work together so that they can build, right? Salaki, Officer Adio, you wanted to say something?
Just an example. Carl Rottenhouse.
Right? Good night. Like, I don't even Salaki. If you don't know about Kyle Rittenhouse and that whole story, like read about how they look after one another. I saw the man. I saw this man after he goes and he murders some people. He's in a courtroom with his hand on the judge's shoulder, just leading on him, working together, getting along. Like this is a cold-blooded murder. And the judge is just sitting there like they work together. Not even a issue in the world. And Salak, this is what I was saying earlier too about, like, you saw the East Indians drive a plane into the Twin Towers, and you got a world war going on. You got a war. America declares it an act of terrorism, an act of war. Right? What do you think the buffalo do when a lion tries to eat or attack one of like the little cubs or the little small buffalo? All the grown buffalo try to attack the lion and fight it off. They look out for one another. Right? The zebras look out for one another. The lions look out for one another. The hyenas, the wolves, they work together. Right? Esau, he works together with his people. Kyle Rittenhouse, that's a perfect, beautiful example. Right? Keep reading, Brock Allen.
And the man will cleave to his like.
Right. That's just normal. There's nothing wrong with that. This is normal to look after your own. This is normal to look after your people. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 17. What fellowship had the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with God.
And this is a question that we have to ask ourselves as a people. Right? To sister Gigi Rex or Gigi Rocks. This is a question you have to ask yourself, sis. Like what fellowship does a wolf have with a lamb? What fellowship does a wolf have with a sheep? Right? We're referred to over and over, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as sheep, lost sheep, sheep in need of a shepherd. We're sheep. And what fellowship do we have with wolves? What fellowship does Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have with the Europeans? The oppressor, the so-called white man, the devil the Bible speaks of. What fellowship do we have with them? Right? You grew up in Canada, in Montreal, Toronto, right? You grew up in the school system of your oppressor, learning their ways, their culture. They tell you it's okay for a man to lay down with a man. Are you going to take on the culture of your oppressor? Or are you going to stand up and serve the Most High? What would heal our people as a nation, how we would move forward as a nation, is we would separate from these animals. We would separate from all these beasts that are around us that devour us. We would throw away his white Jesus. We wouldn't worship Allah, the God of the Muslims and the Arabs. We wouldn't worship the God of the white man. We would worship the God of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right? We don't have any fellowship with these other nations. Right? Keep reading, Brock Yalla.
Verse 18. What agreement is there between the hyena and the dog?
Or Salakia, read verse 17 one more time.
Verse 17. What fellowship had the wolf with the lamb?
Read.
So the sinner with the godly.
Right. So the sinner with the godly. Right? Like we were told
in Leviticus, I think 20 and 26, we were commanded to be holy. We were commanded to be different, to be set apart. The Most High called us to be holy, not to be like everybody else, not to live like the white man, not to live like the Asians, not to live like the East Indians, not to worship their gods, not to take on their culture. This white man wants to lock you up for beating or disciplining your kids. Your culture is to correct your children so that they won't be so willful, to break their will because they're foolish. They're silly. They don't know any better. It's your culture to correct your children a certain way. Are you going to stand up and serve your God, your power? Or are you gonna serve the culture of your oppressor? Are you gonna take that mark of the beast? Worship white Jesus, worship Allah, worship your oppressor, celebrate Valentine's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the garbage that he teaches you? He's gonna tell you to tell your child, well, if your child's acting up, go send him to the corner and make him count to 10. Like that's not gonna do anything for us as a people. You understand? Commanding General YAHANNA says it. Oh, Salakia, sir, go ahead.
That's why they have Carl Rottenhouse.
God. God. Like the most important we can do as a people, the most important thing that we can do as a people is separate ourselves from these other nations. We got to understand that their way of life is bad for us and it is destroying us. Understand that we're not the original homosexuals of this earth. We're not the original drug dealers of the earth. We're not the original murderers of the earth. Look at your ancestors. Look at what Abel did. Abel gave his best to the Most High. And look at the spirit of your oppressor. Look at the spirit of the so-called white man. Cain killed his brother. Don't be like him. Don't be like these other nations. We're a very compassionate and loving people. That's in us. That's our spirit. This is why all of us own a Bible in every single one of our homes. We might not read it, but when we're on our deathbed, all of us all of a sudden want to cry out to God. Right? We're a very spiritual people. We're a very compassionate and loving people. It's not in us to go around just murdering everybody. Stop acting like your oppressor. That's not who you are, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. You don't have any fellowship with these wolves. You don't have any fellowship with the ungodly. You are a holy and set apart people. And we need to separate from these animals. Right? So Salakia, I'm over the time Over the time. Salakia, Officer Adia, is there anything you want to bring up?
La, priest, everything to what? Salaka. Do not forget, for those that speak French, right? We have classes in French on Mondays from 5 to 6. Day from 6 to 8 p.m. We have the law classes on I.S.U.P.K Quebec and also on I.S.U.P.K Canada as well, No Cowards Canada as well on YouTube as well. All right. And for those that speak Creole, don't forget I.S.U.P.K IET, where we give you that truth in Creole also. If you have Levites that you know, send them the link. I.S.U.P.K IET on Facebook and also on YouTube as well. All right. With that, I say shalom, Israel.
Come.
The water, priest.
Come. Yeah, with that, we are the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA. Like, share, subscribe, hit those sign out links, sign in and sign out links before you leave the class. All right, and with that, we're gonna end Tuesday's night brotherhood class. Let's clap it up. All right, we're gonna give the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters: when a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. They need transportation. The teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Slaki, give me 1 minute. We just finished Feast of Dedication. Slaki, 1 moment. Upcoming holy convocations. We have the Feast of Purim coming up next. So the Feast of Purim is on Monday the 14th. Monday, February the 14th. All right, that is the Feast of Purim. That will be in 2022, Monday, February 14th. You can read about that in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 20 to verse 31. To all brothers who want to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, men of Israel, I majum, which means stand. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, I majum Shabbat. I majum Barak. Yahweh Shem Asher Barak. Yadam Matah. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters, Sarah Akwathian. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat. Amajim Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alathan Hashem Yashar. Yadam Matah. Class dismissed.